Hello, fabulous friends and fans. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of January 11th, 2015. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. Early in the week, Mars will move into a new sign. Mars will move into the sign of Pisces. So Pisces is the sign of imagination, of inspiration, being plugged into source, and also the dream space. And so collectively speaking, it is very much about how can we imagine something better and empower ourselves as a result. Now, there is sort of a tendency here for some people out there, and also we should be hearing more about sort of dream therapies, if you will, hearing people talk more about sort of creative visions that they've had, dream visions that they've had as well, and how dreams have contributed to people taking action to move forward. It definitely is a really good time to sort of connect with purpose, connect with faith, and act from that place of knowing that you have an internal worthiness and equality with everyone and everything. And you can act from that place of not only compassion, but also confidence as well. In the middle of the week, I love this. We have Venus and Mercury speaking in harmony with Uranus. I absolutely love this. Now, at this point, Mercury is in shadow. So in the middle of last week, so just a few days ago from the time of publishing this, Mercury moved into shadow. I've been talking about this on the different social media that I'm on and interacting with you guys around that. And so, yes, Mercury's in shadow. Regular friends and fans know that for me, the shadow is just as important as what's taking place in the retrograde period. So you do want to watch what's taking place right around this time, because these are issues that you are going to return to in the early part of February. So pay attention to what's happening now, because what is taking place now will get a further burst of clarity and understanding once we get into next month. So this is the time to take down some notes. Maybe if you're not so much about writing a diary, at least sort of setting in a little reminder in your calendar or something and saying, yeah, right around this time I was thinking of this, because Mercury will return to this very space come the early part of February, and will allow us to see things from a whole other perspective, a very needed perspective. But for now and for this week, we've got Venus and Mercury speaking with Uranus. This is so much fun is what it comes down to. This is about the universe pointing the way to fun, to joy, to lightness, to freedom, and you deciding if you're going to take the universe up on that option. And so thanks to Venus out there, this is romantic surprises, or at least being shown how we can create better romantic circumstances for ourselves. For some people, this will work out financially, how to create better financial situations for ourselves. And for other people, with the Mercury being very active, it has to do with new thoughts, new brainstorms, thinking of how you can approach your life with a different angle, but mainly with a greater sense of spontaneity as well, a greater sense of joy as well. How can you think about something differently so that you change its energy, so that it's something that you're actually looking forward to? Now, this is really valuable when there's something to do that you know is good for you, that you know is something that adds immeasurably to your life in different ways, whether it adds to your life in practical terms, or whether it adds to your life in more ephemeral ways. We all have parts of what we do that maybe are not always a tremendous joy, that maybe sometimes we resist, don't always know why. This is a chance to change your thinking around that, so you are approaching it with a greater sense of openness. And where it is that you're doing something that you really just don't want to do, you're going to find creative ways to get out of it, to say the least. Now, what is happening as we move further into the week is something that is somewhat rare. Mars normally takes 2 years to go around the zodiac. And during that 2-year period, we'll speak to Saturn in a type of conversation called a square twice during that 2-year time frame. And so it's a somewhat rare phenomenon to take place, and it is taking place this week. And it is an important phenomenon to happen celestially speaking. This, to me, when I look at it, it represents a few different things. Now, Mars is about where you want to take action, where you want to move forward. Mars in Pisces is saying, move forward from compassion, move forward plugged into source. Saturn is about limitation, and it's about acknowledging where you don't have control, doing your best and surrendering the rest. Mars is taking control. Saturn is making you mindful of where there isn't control. Now, Pisces and Sagittarius. So Saturn's in Sag, Mars is in Pisces. These two signs have an affinity because they are both ruled by the same planet, Jupiter. So Jupiter is Sagittarius's ruling planet, and when we think about Jupiter, we think about expansion and hope and opportunity, very connected to that vibe of being more out there that Sag is about. But as the ruler of Pisces, as the ancient ruler of Pisces, this is about compassion and being plugged into source and inspiration, divine inspiration, if you will. So it is sort of the expression, these signs are symbolized by these planets, but they have this affinity in that they have this spectrum of what ultimately is the same energy. And so you think about it, the sign of Sagittarius is about, this is what I know to be true, in a political sense or religious sense. Pisces is about, I so know this to be true that I can feel it and I would sacrifice for it. I would absolutely give everything for this. I would lay down my life for it. And so those are, again, a spectrum of basically the same energy. So when we've got Mars in Pisces, that's sort of saying, you know, like, go out there. Like, I believe it so much, I'll allow myself to just be used totally. And then we've got Saturn in Sag saying, okay, this is what we've always believed, but this conversation is saying, okay, so how are we now going to live that? How are we now going to move beyond that? Is it something we're meant to move beyond or fight to keep? So there are a couple of different ways that this is going to play out. I got to say, I got to be honest, just collectively speaking, this can be a time of some tension. Ultimately, this tension is meant to move us beyond it. And so if we can sort of acknowledge whatever tension is coming up, really it comes down to differences of opinion, whether they're political or religious. And of course, we all know that ultimately the world, the universe is diverse. It is a universe of diversity. And the more that we're able to really rise above these types of needs to be right and acknowledge what place within us that comes from, which tends to be a type of insecurity, then we can more readily embrace the diversity. That's going to be part of the sacred learning here, I think, for us collectively, but also individually as well. So if you find yourself sort of getting carried away by an ideology, this is going to be your chance to sort of stop and say, okay, what's really going on here? Why do I need to be right in this? What is it saying about me and where I'm at in my state of spirit or in my state of happiness as well? Really important question. This conversation on a personal level is about acknowledging the limits of your power, acknowledging what you can do and also what you don't have power to do as well. And it's about acknowledging where maybe there's some frustration. Now, the great thing with astrology is it teaches us about cycles, that all things pass. And ultimately, this conversation is saying, do the work and take action so that you can eventually move beyond those limitations. And so wherever it is that you haven't been honest with yourself about where maybe some feelings have been simmering and you've been feeling frustrated and you've been feeling like you wish you had more power and you want to move forward but haven't been, this is your chance to ask yourself why and to take ownership for what it is that you can do to move your life in a positive direction. And that's ultimately really what Mars is about. Mars is about empowerment. It's about knowing yourself well, being so connected to self that knowing that you can act from that place and still be whole. Having a sense of confidence that you know yourself well enough to spontaneously behave and know it will be an authentic expression of the truth of who you are, all that you are as well. With Mars there, it's asking us to be honest with ourselves. It's asking us to check in with ourselves to make sure that that action really is coming from a place of self-honesty. And from that sense, this conversation really allows us to elevate beyond what otherwise just would be us acting out of a more baser instinct, and deciding that we are going to decide who we are and how it is that we're going to behave, and behave according to our highest ideals, a highest sense of maturity as well, and the highest sense of what we know is the best course of action as well. Well, thank you so much for watching the introduction. I've recorded a few FAQs. I'm so excited about that. I love your questions, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube comments as well. I've recorded a couple of FAQ videos that should be published right around the time of this weekly horoscope that have to do with what happens when your birthday falls on a full moon or a new moon. So the different phases of the moon when they happen on your birthday, what does that mean for the year ahead? And also about being born on an eclipse. What does it mean when you're born on an eclipse, and the different types of eclipses and what that speaks to for you as well. And got those questions from friends and fans out there. And as I said, please do keep them coming. I love your questions, your astrology curiosities and considerations. If you have questions that are a little bit more personal, that have to do with what's happening in your own life, I'm very happy to look at your chart. Please do consider a personalized horoscope where I can do just that. But of course, always, I'm so grateful that you are here. I'm so grateful that you guys comment and like and share and thumbs up these videos, especially the weekly videos as well. Thank you so much for that. And with these videos, my hope always is that in some way they affirm to you that the universe is wise and loving, which is really the foundation of everything I do. Everything I do is about affirming that in the world. So thank you so much for being here to receive that. And of course, my hope is that these videos bless your life or infuse your life with some inspiration, with some hope, just as you all out there with your interactions, with your viewership, with, as I said, your thumbs up, with your sharing, infuse my life with so many blessings and so much inspiration and so much hope as well. I am eternally grateful for it. So how all these celestial adventures this week speak to you and your sign is coming up right now. Hello, fabulous Aries. This week we have Mars speaking with Saturn, and Mars being your ruling planet. This is you being very aware of where it is that there is limitation. Now, given where Mars is, this is you being aware of your own fears. Where is it that your own fears are getting in the way of you really dreaming big, of you even taking the action you need to move yourself in a direction that you hope ultimately will manifest? Now, what's really interesting about this energy is sometimes with this energy, it's about acknowledging where the vision is changing and not knowing how you feel about it just yet, like needing to sort things out on an energetic level with that. So maybe at one time you were a swinging bachelor, sort of like a roadie, traveling all over the world, really happy with that life. And now all of a sudden you find that you want to have kids and you want to get married and you want a house and you want a white picket fence. Whoa, who is this person? I don't know how I feel about this. It's that kind of thing. Now I'm speaking in jest, but really it's that type of sort of archetypal transition that this conversation suggests. And so something is being shifted right now. You are going through changes. There's some acknowledging of who you were, who you no longer want to be, some fear as well. Let that process take place. And I think you'll find, and especially when it comes to your friends, certainly will help you move your life in a really positive direction, a direction that feels right for who you are today. Hello, fabulous Taurus. This week we have your ruling planet, Venus, in harmony with Uranus, rather. I love this for you. And the reason is because this is lights coming on, light bulbs coming on, awarenesses, inspiration as well. Venus right now at the very top of your sky. So this has to do with understanding life purpose. It has to do with career as well and career advancement. I do think that for some of you out there, this is going to be hearing of an opportunity, hearing of where it is that you could go next, what change it is that you could create to get a sense of whether it's a new position, just on a practical level, on the career front, what it is that you can do to move your life in a positive direction on that. But for others, this is going to be about life purpose. This is going to be a little bit larger. This is what can I do to feel a sense of fulfillment, that I'm actually walking the path I'm meant to walk. Well, this week you hear the news. This week you get some insight. This week you get the whisper or the understanding or the action of what step you can take. And just pace yourself a little bit, because a little bit later on this month, we have a new moon happening in the same part of the sky that's going to actually bring that opportunity much closer to you. Right now, just keep your ear to the pavement, as they say, to keep your ear to the ground. Listen for what the universe is trying to get you to understand and get you to do, and then take those actions. This is the week when you start to do those things that will lead to new opportunities just a little bit later this month. Hello, fabulous Gemini. This week we have your ruling planet speaking with Uranus, and in a very harmonious position at that for you. And I just love this for you so much. It's a time of friendships, really helping you understand what you really want. It's a time of you thinking about how you can share in a bigger way, how you can put yourself out there more. It's a time of you thinking about what more you want to know, what more do you want to learn in a larger sense, not just on a sense of your immediate curiosity, not just on a sense of, you know, what skills do I need to help my life move forward? No, this is much bigger. Who do I need to become to manifest the highest vision possible for my life? And it is a conversation with a friend that really clarifies that for you. Do keep in mind, though, we've got Saturn in your opposite sign speaking with Mars. This isn't the easiest placement, I'll be really honest with you. It does look like you're looking at a partner and considering the role that they're going to play in you moving in that higher direction. And so you're going to have to be a little bit mindful of this, because it does look like either it's going to play out in a romantic situation where you realize, whoa, this person really is not in alignment with where I really want to go in life. Or it's going to play out in a business sense where, again, you're going to be like, okay, wow, this is the limits of what this person can actually do working with me, of my partnership with this person. And then you decide how far it is that you want to continue or where it is that you're ready to move beyond it. You're going to decide what action you can take to empower yourself so that you actually do feel that your life is moving in a direction that you desire it to go. Hello, fabulous Cancer. This week we have got this energy happening, Venus, Mercury in a part of the sky that have to do with, ultimately really have to do with money. Right? It has to do with knowing that the universe provides for you, knowing that you are cared for emotionally and in practical terms as well. And it has to do with allowing that care in so that it transforms your circumstances for the better. And this is you hearing some really positive news, and especially on the career front as well. Now, for some of you, this could be the promise of a commission or a check or something that is meant to come through maybe just a little bit further down the road. For others of you, this is going to be actually receiving it. Okay, so regardless of whether it comes to fruition now, it does look like you are being granted some insight into how to create greater prosperity for yourself, and how it is ultimately that that prosperity can help you move in a very powerful direction with your career. Now, a very dear friend of mine, a Cancer and friend and fan out there, someone I've known for so many years, contacted me recently, lost his job, day job really, and is saying, okay, wow, I could do this and it's more in line with what I really want to do with my career, but it's still not, I don't think this is actually going to help me get where it is that I really want to get. Well, I would say as I look at this, that, and considering that Mercury is now in shadow, I would say that there are going to be opportunities coming up now to make a lot of money, in some cases a lot of money really quickly. And this isn't going to be something that necessarily has to be done for a really long time if you don't want it to. There are bigger career breakthroughs coming up later this month with a new moon, and another new moon happening next month. Watch your monthly horoscope on that. But this week represents an important part of the process. So stay open. If things are changing in your life, don't worry. It's moving you in a direction of a lot more prosperity, a lot more. And if you're happy with where you are financially speaking, then allow this to move you towards more creative ways to creating greater wealth for yourself and accomplishing things that matter to you very much. Hello, fabulous Leo. Well, this week we have got this energy happening in your opposite sign. This is a big area this month and next month. And I've spoken about this in the monthly horoscope. So you are going to want to have a look at that for the month of January. But there is all this energy happening in the opposite sign for you right now. So this is all about love, surprises in love, thinking about what you really want, aiming high, having a clearer vision of what you're going for, and people who are going to support that in love and otherwise. So we do have that energy playing out. At the same time, though, I got to say, with the conversation between Mars and Saturn, I do think, I look at this, and again, being really honest with yourself and being really honest with you, this is about where something's got to change if you're going to move towards love as well. So there's this mix of tension and also inspiration as well. And so when I see this, it says to me that either you're becoming aware that if you're going to experience greater love, you're going to have to make some changes, or maybe the person that you're dating, getting to know, is not really in alignment with right now where it is that you believe you desire to be in love. They have their limitations. So what is it that they're willing to change? What is it that they can't change, that they're not in that space to change? All of this is going to get a lot of clarity for you now as well. But ultimately, this is about acknowledging where you have power to make a transformation and where you cannot make a transformation for another person. This is about acknowledging who these other people are in your life, where it is that people are bringing in great energy and happiness, but also where it is that they're teaching you something about control and power. And ultimately, love means acceptance. Can you really accept? That's going to be the big question for you now. And whether or not someone that you're interested in, or someone in your sphere, or someone that you're dating is saying that they're willing to change, regardless of that, a big part of your learning is going to be taking ownership for where it is that you need to change and doing that work for yourself. Hello, fabulous Virgo. This week we've got your ruling planet speaking with Uranus. Now, I love this for you. It suggests freedom and lightness and new ideas. It suggests you opening up, especially in the workplace and with work opportunities, and feeling an abundance of work opportunities that are bringing money in for you. This isn't steady money. This is more like bursts of cash that are likely to come in now. So some of you are going to experience this. But it's in the context of love that it looks like your partner may be making some decisions and you're not really sure what you feel about it, especially around matters of home. So maybe they want to move, maybe they want to redecorate, maybe they want one of their parents to move in. But if you are in a committed partnership, it is going to be this changes on the home front, changes within the family front, the family of origin, that is going to be highlighted for you now, and you're going to have to figure out how you're going to navigate that to your advantage. It's almost as if I'm seeing you having to consider other points of views. But the thing is that you're motivated. Mars is moving into your opposite sign. You're motivated to make it work. You're motivated to see the other perspective and to connect more passionately with your partner. So continue to consider that other perspective, but at the same time, strive to be honest and use your words, use your thinking, let yourself have some new ideas. Maybe what before you thought wasn't so amazing, now if you look at it from another angle, seems like a really great idea and a really great change, and it very well might be. We do have Mercury right now moving through a part of the sky for you that has to do with sort of the day ins and day outs. But Mercury is speaking with Uranus over the course of these coming weeks, really. And so this does suggest that slowly but surely you're opening up, you're experiencing greater happiness, you're experiencing a greater sense of freedom and lightness as well. Tap into that energy and you'll find yourself moving towards a stronger connection with at least one person, an important person at that. Hello, fabulous Libra. This week is a lovely week if you're dating somebody, if you want to meet somebody new, or even if you are in a partnership and hoping to bring some fun, some spontaneity into the mix. We've got Venus hanging out in a part of the sky that has to do with romance. We've got Uranus and Venus speaking Uranus in your opposite sign, having to do with partnership and connection as well. This bodes really well for meeting somebody new, really well for just bringing a sense of romance into your life, especially if it concerns someone special. And if anything, this will get lots of flirty energy in the air. What we also have taking place this week does involve really the work sphere, if you will. And I would just caution you, I look at where Mars is right now. I look at where Saturn is right now. They're speaking with each other. And this to me is just be very careful with gossip around the workspace, if you will. So if you go to a place to do your work, be mindful of how you're using your words, how you are not. If you are like working for yourself as well, communication really key, but communication can have a reaction that you didn't necessarily expect. And so strive to be clear, strive to be as kind and loving, as gracious as possible. All of that is going to help you very much move yourself very positively forward in the mix of any kind of connection. This also can be a time that's going to ask you to sort of understand the different types of people that are there. How are you going to negotiate? You can be really good at bringing in positive energy, but it is going to create a certain amount of intention. So if you have the intention to bring positive energy into any sphere, you can do that and transform any situation right before your eyes. Hello, fabulous Scorpio. This week we have got your ancient ruling planet, Mars, speaking with Saturn. Now, I find this such an interesting conversation because right now we've just had Saturn has just left your sign, now speaking to money and speaking to finances. We have got Mars now moving into a part of the sky that has to do with, on the one hand, romance and dating. On the other hand, just fun and joy as well. Now, when I see this conversation playing out, I mean, you put the pieces together and it does suggest an element of maybe there is someone that you're dating or you really want to impress and you're trying to bring your A game and there's money being spent. Maybe there is an impression that may not necessarily be accurate, working for you or not, about how much money you make. There might even be an outright request for money as well. And so just be mindful of that. It does look overall like it's ultimately a conversation that's going to help you be more honest with this person and to move in a more honest direction. If anything, it's going to help you to learn something about how do you feel in the context of where your money is, where it connects with another person's money as well. All of that is going to come to light. For others of you out there, for a small percentage of you out there, this could be a child, issues around children that all of a sudden need money, okay? So sometimes expenses come up. It may come up now. The thing with Saturn is that you always have the money you need. It may feel a little bit like you're scrambling at times, but you always have what you need. And so trust that, do what's in front of you to do, and you will find that whatever expenses are there, if it feels right to you to move forward with it, right? So if you just met somebody online and then you meet them for a first date and they're hitting you up for money, then you want to watch out a little bit. You want to say, okay, what's going on here? But if it's your kid needs some money for something, an expense comes up, you certainly will find a way to navigate that with great finesse. And so be mindful of your limits. You're learning long-term lessons about money. This is a week that is set to really empower you, to show you where it is that you have that belief that you can create greater prosperity for yourself, and how it is actually that you're going to move yourself in a direction of creating that prosperity in a way that resonates in line with a passion, in a way that resonates as right with you. Hello, fabulous Sagittarius. Well, we have got Saturn newly in your sign speaking with Mars. Talk about a welcome party. Talk about an introduction, really. I mean, if you are one of those Sagittarius who's still kind of been waiting for the energy to shift, this week should do it. Now, you do have other really supportive things happening in the sky, which does suggest to me that There's no shortage of joy. You're absolutely able to navigate this time very well. But really, this is some insight into what the lessons are coming up ahead. What are some of the larger lessons coming up for you ahead? And it does look like you're going to need to spend some time on your own to figure that out. There's an element here playing out where you're going to have to spend time in isolation, almost like close the doors, sit with yourself, meditate, decide for yourself where it is that you're going to put energy, what it is that needs your focus now, and what it is that you want to work on in the coming period. Now, there's an element here of becoming aware of that sometimes through what isn't working, through what's frustrating you. And so wherever it is that you need to empower yourself and you need to own that Saturn, own this very special opportunity you have to move your life in a tangible way towards a level of manifestation, really, towards a level of self-respect that comes from seeing a path through long enough to fruition. Well, this is going to be your chance to start to see where that path is going to be for you and to summon the determination that you need to begin to walk it now. Hello, fabulous Capricorn. This week we have got your ruling planet speaking with Mars, and not necessarily the easiest conversation. I look at this and I just think that you're going to be feeling like, okay, what is it that I got to do? What do I got to do already? And the answer may not necessarily be clear, in all honesty. And this is largely because Saturn is in the sign just before yours, which is a part of the sky that has to do with things not necessarily being clear, things working themselves out sort of on an energetic level. I mean, when I look at your finances, it looks like there's some really good financial news that's going to find you, possibly some sort of news that has to do with work that you did in the past, connections that you have with people in the past as well. All of this speaks very well to prosperity and opportunity coming into your life now, and visits to home, however you define that. Connections to people from your childhood, people from home, whether you define that as your neighborhood. When you think of home, what do you think of? Your neighborhood? Do you think of a physical structure? Do you think of your family? Do you think of a country? Whatever that is for you, it's going to be those people now that help to usher in opportunity. And yet, something may not necessarily feel right. Your dreams may be a little bit very symbolic and it may be a little restless as well. Don't worry about it. Just navigate this time. Trust that you will have the inspiration you need to move yourself towards greater prosperity, and that you have the connections you need as well, because you certainly do. Some really great financial ideas are set to find you now. Hello, fabulous Aquarius. Well, we continue to have all this energy in your part of the sky, in your sign. I spoke about this in the monthly horoscopes. I would invite you to watch that again, but this week, really, we've got Venus, we've got Mercury in your sign, speaking in harmony with your ruling planet. I think that this bodes very, very well for really coming to an understanding of what it is that's going to create greater happiness in your life. Having a key conversation that just opens a pathway in your heart and in your mind as well, and really feeling a flood of really great creative ideas, romantic ideas as well, and ideas that promise prosperity as well for you. But speaking of prosperity, we do have this conversation with Mars and Saturn. I look at this, and this is about money and friends. Don't mix now. So if you feel that you're being hit up for money by a friend, you want to watch that and how you feel around that, because ultimately it does look, I gotta say, it doesn't look like a good time to mix friendship and money, and it does look a little bit uncomfortable on some levels with that for you. So you're gonna have to decide clearly defined lines. There are some people with whom the primary sort of thrust of the relationship is the money part and not the friendship part. For others, it's the friendship part, not the money part. So you're gonna have to decide who this person is for you. What is the stronger connection, and then focus in on that part of the bond. But having said that, it does look like a really good opportunity for you to come to understand how do you feel with the money and the prosperity that you have, and how it is that you're going to navigate your pathway forward, as now we have Mars leaving your sign, entering the sign that has to do with finances. You'll be very focused on making money now and in the weeks to come. Hello, fabulous Pisces. Well, we've got Mars moving into your sign. This is huge. This is passion, determination, energy. This is you moving forward, in some cases powerfully forward, where it is that energy has felt stagnant. Now, here's the key thing with this energy. This is sort of like a welcome party for Mars, and your sign speaks with Saturn. And I spoke about this at length in the introduction. This is so important for you because this, to me, speaks to you having a greater understanding, having a greater, like really a clarity, if you will, of what it is that you desire to achieve, and summoning the determination to do your part to actually get you there. Saturn has just moved to the very top of your chart. This is about you putting in the work that is needed so that you can create success that lasts, understanding what your purpose and your contribution is going to be. You get some powerful insights into that now, and you're going to decide how much energy you're going to give to that bigger vision of your life. Now, whether that's personal, having to do with life purpose, whether that's career goals as well, it looks like you are all of a sudden motivated to move up the ladder, whatever your proverbial ladder is. All of a sudden, you are just feeling all like passionate, all inspired, all lit up, if you will, to move your life in a direction where you feel a greater sense of self-respect, but also feel yourself moving in a direction that you believe is going to establish you in a way that you'd very much like to. That, in turn, that summoning of that courage and that confidence and that determination will ensure that you will use the coming weeks as Mars moves through your sign very much to your advantage. Well, thank you so much to all signs out there. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.